Hi guys, it's going to be my first video on the Alarms YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be covering the top base locations for ARK Ascended, as ARK Ascended is just going to be releasing with the island. So I'll be covering about 5-10 base spots on the island and just some simple builds for you to get started on it. So first one is going to be a pretty obvious one. Closest spawn is West Zone 3. And it's just over here in the snow biome, and it's quite hard to find because it does blend in with the surroundings, so I've just put some gates here to block it off, and so it can be blocked off with just one behemoth gate on the main entrance. So at the start of ARK Ascended I would just say set up some plant X to just because it's easy maintenance and you don't need any ammo for them. And then in here I've got the setup for obviously a bit further into wipe. I've got these turrets that are going to be on players only, so then it's a bit of a better choke point than some of the other ones people do. And then we've got some turrets up here, so depending on what they do with ARK Ascended, if they allow cryopods, it'll stop people from just chucking out stegos hopping straight on them, so I'll just get beamed off. If there's no cryopods, this base spot specifically will be pretty much unraidable, as it's a crouch point if you build it properly. I'm a pretty not great builder, so I've just set up this basic tech and heavy wall. But that's pretty much, like, obviously this is just the main wall. You can pretty much do whatever you want with the rest of the cave. There is a little skylight in here which I would suggest putting the crafting station you have in, because then it's a bit harder for anyone to try and soak it or push it, as they'll have to soak turrets up in the top. But that's it for base location number 1, and on to the next one. And the base spot number 2 is over here on the spawn. Let me check. North Zone 1. You'll spawn, I don't think you can spawn too far, I think it's literally just this curve bit here. And then come over to Carnivore Island, pretty much, I don't know who hasn't, been in Carnivore Cave, but, it's blocked off one regular dino gateway. And then, for stars, I'd say just put some turrets here to stop anyone coming in. Even if it's just like small turrets, it'll just stop people coming in. You can also place plant X all the way up until here, so I'd chuck some of them down too. Is the mini first wall, as just to stop people getting into the water here. The reason I've not pushed it as far back is because this piece of rock right here will just line of sight pretty much like half your wall. And then I don't know why, but this water is extremely laggy for me. But here's the main wall here. I'll just turn it on real quick. And I've tried my best to get some hatch frame turrets, but I'm not exactly the greatest builder, so I don't know how to do them correctly. And there's no snap point on the walls here, so you will have to connect the buildings with pillars and like that. So this cave is a pretty big cave. I think some drops spawn in here, and considering there's going to be no cliff plats, it's going to be a bit harder to build, so that's why it's on number 2 on this list. But it should still be a very good spot, especially with the amount of space. Even without the cliff plants, you should still be able to build this pretty well, if you know what you're doing. Now on to base spot number 3. And on to base spot number 3 is in kind of centre map, like 42, 45-ish. It's in between these two massive mountains here. There's not exactly a close spawn, so you might have to get a flyer or, traverse whole map. This one is also single dino gateway. And I didn't mention this before, but the 3 base spots I've already shown, you cannot fit a stego in any of them. This one, it gets stuck, I think, just about here, but you cannot get stegos into any of these base spots I've shown so far. So, the reason this one's a bit low is because it's a bit, I say a bit, it's a lot harder to build, since there's not exactly enough room for a big wall. So what I'd suggest, rather than building a wall, is I've got these turrets to show as an example, is get these triangle foundations and try and snap them onto the walls, because this just a singular tech gen from there is pretty much powering, I think it powers all the way up to like the end of this wall. So if you just scatter tons of turrets, it'll be a bit harder for it to be soaked, and they'll actually, they might have to just blow up the turrets one by one, just giving you a bit more time to defend your base. And then there's not exactly, it's a long cave, but there's not like a great build spot in it until the very end, and even then it's a bit like, it's not the greatest spot, but it's enough space for, you know, you can probably set up a few breeders in here, but I wouldn't take it if you're going to try and mass breed or stuff like that. So onto the base number 4. And onto base spot number 4. You can see it's very close to Red Orb. I think you can get a spawn here, but if you're going to take this, it is an underwater cave, so it's going to be a bit more difficult. But if you're going to take this cave, you can just do your note run, and then literally just beeline over here. It's right near this, you should be able to see it, 'cause it's a bit like coral and stones pop out the ground. And it's all the way down here. I did try to block it off with behemoth gates, but as you can see, it's way too big. So if you are going to try and block it off or take this cave, you're going to have to either spam it off or completely block off this front entrance. The cave is extremely big. The best way I'd say defending this is just to have a ton of aggressive, like squids, megalodons, and anything else you can just tame and stick to attack people. I didn't even bother putting turrets on this one since it's just such a big cave. So once you get in here, you can take swimming tames all the way through the cave. So to stop people from claiming the rest of the cave, I would just block off this bit if you're just starting off to claim it, because then they can't just take their swimming tames all the way through the cave. I'd say as a first starter little base to stick in here, so then at least you can block this off a lot easier than blocking off one of these main entrances. But there is a huge amount of space in here, and if you're a good builder, you can just give foundation support to all of and just put ceilings across the water, and it'll be a huge base. You can have water breeders and a lot of other breeders, and it's just a very good base spot. However, obviously the entrance is extremely big, so I'd say more of a bigger team's job, or like someone who knows what they're doing and can build quite well. Now we're going to go on to base spot number 5. And on to base number 5. This is located bottom right of the map, very close to Herbivore Island. It's just on the beach in this little cove area here. And you cannot fit a stego through here. You definitely block it off with just one dino gateway. And just go on in here. This cave's a bit better because it's got a bit more like open stretch, so you can just build a little wall like this on here. And then further back in, there is a nice spot that you can build a pretty decent wall on. Obviously, I've just swacked one down 5-minute little just to show how it could be built. Then you go into the cave, main bit of the cave. There is a huge amount of space in here. The only issue is that because it's lava cave, there is a whole lot of lava that you're either gonna have to just like build around, or you can try build over. There is snap points in here, so it shouldn't be like too hard to build over. But without cliff plats, it is going to be a whole lot harder. But then again, if you like a good base spot with a lot of room, this is definitely your take. As you can see, there's just so much space in here. The artifacts all the way in here. I think there is a few drop spawns in here, and it is a massive cave. Fucking get lost in here. Yeah, that is it for all of the base spots. If you did survive till the end of the video, please leave a like. And if there's anything you think I could do better in the video, please leave it in the comments, because obviously this is my first video. I don't exactly know what to do, what's good, what's bad, but I will probably be uploading like some tips and tricks for ARK Ascended. And if you'd like to see that, subscribe, and it should be in the next video. And see ya.